Hey everyone, on today's podcast, Alex and I are talking about why Brooks Brothers went out of business and why your contracting company may follow suit. Hey everyone, welcome back to Contractor Growth Network. I'm Logan.
Hey guys, I'm Alex.
And today we're going all through what just happened at the time of this recording is yesterday, Wednesday, July 8th, I believe, is Brooks Brothers was another retailer that went out of business or filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which doesn't necessarily mean they're out of business. It just means that they pretty much go to a court and the court says, this is how you're going to structure your debt. This is who you're going to pay first. This is who you're going to pay second, things like that. So they're just added on to another list of a trend that really started in my mind with Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Blockbuster refused to go online because they said this whole Netflix thing was stupid and it wasn't going to last. And by the time they jumped in, it was too late.
Yeah, it goes back to Blockbuster, like what, 2000, 2001, not wanting to buy Netflix at the time. And it goes from, goes through RadioShack, Toys R Us, all these chains. JCPenney, I think this year just is filed bankruptcy. Pier 1, like all these companies that a lot of like the subscription-based, magazine like Sears that refused to go online when it was popular now are just trying to catch up and ultimately can't.
It's just too late at this point because it's what's done is done. So the whole topic today is about if you have an offline business, are you going to be following suit and be added to that list of everything that we just talked about? Because it's not stopping anytime soon. All these companies that we look at them and we go, well, they're just too big. Like Sears is too big to fail. That's what happened with Enron. Right? They're too big, they're too robust, they've got too much of a backing, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But now look at them.
Yeah, it's funny because I think Sears is like a great example because my father, he's in his 60s. I mean, he grew up at Sears and it was everything. It was the one-stop shop, basically. And when like in my generation, I'm pretty sure your generation, we could see Sears as the store with half-empty shelves, 3 people in the store, and the beat up signage, the beat up facade. So
I was never excited to go in there.
No, it was always, it's like Kmart almost. It's just like almost like a ghost town, like, wow, this is going out of business. Like that's your mindset now. And it's like we said earlier, they were just too late to go online. So now the new generation that's buying is like, well, like it's a bad like notion with Sears, you know what I mean?
So what's interesting about all this especially with COVID and this and that is it's not like with Brooks Brothers, you think, well, Brooks Brothers, they because of COVID, because nobody's going out and buying suits anymore, as much, maybe. That is why they went out of business. But that wasn't the start of it. It wasn't they weren't amazing in March of 2020 and then they started to slip. It's because they were realizing that trends were changing. So what they were doing was they were late to the game on casual office wear, right? Brooks Brothers is still double-breasted suit. Like that was their style and they were trying to slowly switch over, but they were a little bit too late. So they were already in hot water. Sears was already in huge hot water before anything happened. Movie theaters already in hot water because all these companies, the way that humans live these days is it's all revolved around the internet. It's all revolved around your phone. And if you're slow to that game, like all these big time industries are, you're going to go out of business. And COVID just, was really the catalyst for a lot of these businesses already going down that, they could, like Brooks Brothers could ask for a buyout, but like they were already hurting. Sears could ask for a buyout. They were already hurting. So it wasn't like COVID was the reason.
Yeah. Like, I don't think there's any like huge surprise that some of these stores filed for bankruptcy, probably a lot faster because of COVID, but it's not, if they were struggling before, most likely they were going to struggle during COVID as well. Like, Forever 21, I think that was a retail store that filed bankruptcy, I think right before COVID hit. Macy's is a store that didn't file for bankruptcy, but they're struggling, so that might be the next domino to fall. It is not like the Gucci's or the Louis Vuittons. They're not like, they weren't really struggling before. So it's kind of just a hit and then they'll rebound. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, Brooks Brothers, I never shop there. And look what I'm wearing. I'm wearing an athletic t-shirt to the work. So I mean, it's how many people are actually going on business adventures now? Nobody. So the
No
casual,
one.
wear would be an easy transition, and they just were slow to the game, failed to do it, and other stores picked up on that, that market.
So this is exactly who, like, this is what, like, this was the story of my dad, right? He was doing all Yellow Pages, and that is how he got all of his work. Was just people would go in the phone book. And I mean, Alex, when was the last time you opened a phone book?
I think I opened it when I was a kid. That was about it.
I think when I was like 10 or 11, I remember like ordering pizza, and that was the last time I can remember. And I'm 29, so that would have been 17 years ago. So
Yeah.
it'd be no different than if with Macy's and all these companies, if they stayed just doing retail and they kind of half-assed online. It's the same as a contractor just saying, look, I'm just going to do Yellow Pages, I'm just going to do referrals, and they don't really go all in on the internet side of things, because the way that we buy these days is completely different. It's completely different how we buy. Alex, where do you get most of your clothes from?
Marshalls now. Marshalls,
Okay.
Target. Yeah.
And then Marshalls and Target, are you going in there right now during all this to go buy clothes?
Marshalls I am. Sometimes Target, just, if I'm already ordering something online. But, they're on the cheaper side of clothes. So it's like, you're more likely to go in there.
So with me, I know, like, I just got like a pair of jeans, like another pair of black jeans this morning. Went online, ordered them there. Stuff from Target,
Yeah.
I just go online. I just got
Yeah.
new underwear, went online to Amazon. So it's all online. But what's ironic is that if we all buy online, we're all used to shopping online, we're all used to spending all our lives online. Why do contractors then go, well, I don't want to go online because that's not how my people buy? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to change how they habitually buy these days. You're asking them to do something out of their norm.
Yeah, and I think even I think all the COVID stuff, the pandemic stuff is has changed the mind of those older, stubborn relic generations that want to go in and buy it, because they're like, now they're more than likely the higher risk people, so now they don't want to leave for that. So it's like their mindset had to change. So for contractors that are continuing to not jump on board to all this, it's just like, there's absolutely no demographic for you now. Like, for me to like go to, Marshalls isn't a big deal because I'm, 24. But for, my grandmother who's 86, it's a huge deal. So she's buying clothes online. It's like, she doesn't have a Facebook. Like, that's a big deal. So that whole mindset is just shifted. And it's, if you're delayed, you're going to end up like these companies.
Let's just talk about, how this, like, department stores, right, going out of business. When you walk into Nordstrom's, you walk in, somebody walks up and says, hey, what can I help you with today? Right? And they go, well, this is what I'm looking for. What's something you would go to Nordstrom's and buy, Alex?
I don't even know. I don't think I've been to Nordstrom's, honestly.
High end, pick a department store that you would go into that's like a nicer one.
Oh, I'll pick American Eagle. Just go there.
Okay.
Not really high end.
Right.
I'm very simple.
If you're a 12-year-old girl, this is gonna be a perfect one. So, so you walk in, sales associate says, "Hey, what can I help you find?" Alex, what are you looking for?
Jeans.
Okay, great. What kind of jeans are you looking for? Like, what are you hoping to do with those jeans?
I'm hoping to, kind of wear them to work, but also could wear them out. Nothing too trendy, just kind of simple, just all purpose. Casual, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is it cool if I show you a few different options of jeans that, I know are really popular at this time?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay, cool. That interaction where you walk into a store, it's got a bunch of different options. Somebody walks up, says, hey, how can I help you? And you go, I want jeans. And they say, okay, great. What are you looking to use them for? Got it. Can I show you a couple options? That's how you can set up your website as a contractor, where somebody comes to your website and they say, hey, great, thanks for joining us. We're here to make you feel good. What are you looking to buy? And you go, well, I'm looking to buy a new kitchen. And they go, okay, great. What kind of kitchen? You looking for modern? You looking for something a little bit more old school? or you're just looking to redo the cabinets, and you go, well, I'm actually just looking to redo the cabinets. And they go, okay, great. Can I show you a couple of the popular trends? Can I show you what people right now are loving? And you're like, yeah, I'd love to see those. So it's no different. All you're doing is you're taking your offline interactions with people, the way that people buy offline, and you're putting it online, because the way that they want to buy is the same, but the way that they have to buy these days is different. And if you're trying to force them to buy the old school way, which is, reaching out, hey, Alex, this is Logan. I saw you wear jeans the other day. Where'd you get those from? I would never do that. I'm just going to go online and find jeans that I like.
Yeah. Well, and think, what's the number one reason you go into a store to go buy your jeans? It's because you want to try them on. You're afraid they're not going to fit, right?
Right.
So what if, so as a contractor, why do people want to go look at a kitchen? Well, they want to feel, the granite. They want to, look at the cabinets, all that stuff. So what if on your website, you make it that user-friendly where you take those fears out of it? So like, I don't know, when you have laminate floors versus hardwood, laminate's going to feel like, it's a little synthetic, but it's going to feel very smooth, when hardwood might have some, abrasions to it or something like that. Like, that's something that you can put on your website and go online, and that takes away that fear. Like, oh, I don't have to go into that house or go to the storefront to see samples. They're describing it to me, like size charts on department store websites. That's a huge help. And that's recent. Like, that was never on a website back in 3 years ago, I feel like.
Yeah, it's all shifting. It's no different than with Bose. When you go into Bose store and they go, hey, you want to see what it's like to have a Bose surround sound in your house? Come here, come in this little room. And you go in there and it's nice. It's like they show you, I don't know, like lightning striking and stuff like that. Like, it's super sick, but it's not that different. That's why we put up, like, the number one reason why people like ponds is they love the water. They love the sound of it. So if you go on Premier Ponds' YouTube channel, there's like we've got different videos where it's just like, hey guys, real quick, if you want to learn more about all this stuff and really understand how all the marketing stuff works for contractors, go ahead and hop in our Facebook group, Contractor Growth Network. Search it in Facebook. There you go. It's like 50 minutes of just noises of ponds, like just a straight video, which you're like, why would you put that? Like, that's not what people like want to see. They want to see you building it. It's like, yeah, they want to see you building it, but they also, that's not the reason they're buying. They're not buying a pond so they can watch you build it. They're buying a pond so they can sit there and listen to and experience it. So if we said, look, go grab some noise canceling headphones, put them on, hit the play button, close your eyes for 3 minutes and just listen to this and see how you feel. Like, that's why people study to the sound of rain. So there's ways, if you're savvy, that you can take offline experiences and put them online. But everybody's just so stuck in their old ways that you just essentially become a blockbuster in your industry. And then all you're doing is you're just waiting for the new guy, the new young person up the road that is more than willing to figure out how to take an offline experience and put it online.
Yeah. And they probably want that, because if they're younger than they're probably afraid to, be face to face with the customer at all times. You know what I mean? So, their online world is easier for them and it comes naturally. And I think the easiest way to just think about it is when you put yourself in that shoes, what's the biggest fears? And at those fears, try to put them on the website, or try to find a way where you can sell it over the phone or online that you don't have to, and then eliminate that fear. It's the easiest way.
Yeah, it's I see this with like digital marketing companies where it'll be some really old website and it'll be something that's like, yeah, I've been doing marketing for 40 years. I'm like, but I think you're still like, I think you progressed for the first 25 years and then you stopped, because what you're showing me, I would never hire you, because it's like your website, they're old, they're ineffective. It just doesn't mirror how people buy these days. And unfortunately, that's just what's happening. If you live in a town and you're a real old school, like, I'm just a handshake kind of guy, I need to shake everyone's hand before I do a deal with them. Well, those are the people that you're attracting. And if that's all you want to work with, that's fine. But that pool of people is getting smaller and smaller every single day. So if we buy, or we we should sell the way that we buy, but we don't, because we buy everything online, yet we're afraid to put our business online because we think, well, this is not how my customers buy. Or no, that's just too much effort. Like, I don't want to deal with that. But car companies do it. You can literally tour all, I mean, like every car that I was like, when I was looking to buy my car, I was doing inside of a car. I'm like looking at all the pictures of like, you know, the heads up display and the trim and then this and then that. But if car companies said, you know what, we don't want to put any of this stuff really online. We don't want to make it easy for people to see. We just wanted to force them to come in to our showroom and check it out. They would be in a heap of trouble.
Oh yeah, they have like tools now where you can like basically sit in the car and you can play with all the features they got in there, and you're doing that virtual tour around it. The only thing you can't do is literally drive the car online now. I mean, but then you're going to the dealership and you don't have to deal with that pushy salesman for an hour and a half. You could just say, I just want to test drive it. I already liked the online version. But it goes back to like like 10 years ago, 7 years ago even, like just having a website was enough. But now it's not. Your website needs to be set up for you and needs to be set up to be sold, to have that experience that the customer wants on every other site. The Amazons, they were around, but it wasn't as prevalent, 7 years ago. They've changed the game, and now every store is just catching up with them. So, for you to just say you have a website isn't enough anymore. You can't just be a placeholder.
Yeah, and we can keep beating this dead horse of like this, the website, this website, that, but try this over the next week. Just think of 5 purchases that you make. 5 purchases that you make. Think about how you go about buying them. It could be at a restaurant, right? For me, at this point, like I hate waiting. So I don't ever go somewhere and go, hey, I want to order for pickup, for takeout. I call ahead, or I just go on like one of the apps and order it.
Yeah, that's me too. I've been a big DoorDash guy now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. And even if I go and pick it up, I still order ahead of time because I want to save that time. So people don't, I mean, and I'm not like you and I, we're not like, oh, well, just because we're in our 20s, like that's just how you guys buy it. But the 35 and 45-year-olds, they do differently. That's not true. I mean, everybody is ordering online, and that is now the new style. That is now the new trend. And if you are stuck doing things differently, you're in trouble, because just audit how you buy yourself. Just over the next week, take 5 purchases and just think, how did I go about not just ordering them and actually buying them, but how did I go about doing the research for them? Did you ask somebody to come out to your house and talk to you about the options that Qdoba has up the road? Did you go online, look at their menu, and check out everything they have to offer? Just think about that. Audit how you buy, and you'll see this is the trend. This is how everything's going. And get the last time that you went to a radio ad or you listen to the radio to figure out, oh, wow, maybe I should go to Qdoba. Doesn't happen. So think about that and start to really understand when you can reverse engineer how people used to buy a couple of years ago offline. You put that thing online, that's the game changer. That's why the people that we work with, it's easier to work with larger companies that are already getting offline leads, because you can just replicate that exact process. But if they're not getting offline leads, then they don't really know how their customers buy. So it's for us, it's much easier to take, hey, what's working? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. If you used to have, you used to make, like with your dad, it was what, Penny Saver was how he would
Penny Saver
magazine, right? You take that same offline experience, Penny Saver magazine, and you just run Facebook ads with the same ad that was in Penny Saver. If Penny Saver said, hey, get your gas for 20% off as long as you call us by the end of July, you do the same exact thing on Facebook. It's no different. You're just taking offline, putting it online, and your hub of it all is that MF website.
Yeah. I guarantee you, after you listen to this podcast, you won't look at websites the same, and not just contracting websites, not just like sunglass websites. That whole experience, because they've mastered that whole experience. It's the retail and that buying, because they're shipping all over the world. You're shipping to you're selling your product to one area, but they've got it mastered. So for you to replicate that kind of system, that we say it all the time, it just feels natural to the customer. It's nice. And like, I just bought sunglasses off of this company called Shady Rays. They're only online. and their experience is so good that I keep going back every time I want a new pair of sunglasses. I don't even think about going to Sunglass Hut. It's that simple.
That's all it takes, guys. So to wrap it all up, just don't be a Brooks Brothers where you're too little too late, because Brooks Brothers, they're not the first company to do this. They're not going out because of COVID. That definitely helped, but they were just falling in line with, the people that made horse and buggies that said, you know what, this car thing, this is a fad. I don't think cars are going to be around. Like, it's just what, the rich want, or what extreme adventurers want. And then now those are gone. Blockbuster said, nope, online streaming. No, people love to come in as a family and pick up in store. That's gone. Sears is gone. Brooks Brothers is gone. Macy's is trying their best to not be gone, but man, they are hurting. J. Crew, another one. So it's very easy to look at all these companies and go, well, yeah, they didn't adapt. That's on them. But then if you audit yourself, how you buy, and compare that to how you're currently trying to sell your work, I think you're going to see that you are no different than Blockbuster and Brooks Brothers.
100% agree. Yeah, I find, like you said, find 5 things that you can audit about yourself that you could change. It'll be transcending, definitely. Not everyone thinks that their company's different. I'm not the same as JCPenney until you take that audit, take that step back, and you're like, oh God, I have some similar traits.
Yeah.
So
I order it's the idea that it's also, people, we sell so differently than we buy. I talk to a lot of contractors and they're like, well, I can't afford that. I can't spend that kind of money. And I'm like, you can't afford 10 grand, but you're turning around and you're expecting, and you're calling people cheap for not wanting to spend 100 grand on a kitchen. Like, how does that make sense? How does it make sense that you get frustrated with homeowners that say, I got to think it over? Oh yeah, like, let me just think for a while. And you go, oh, they're liars and this and that. But then you turn around and you say the exact same thing to everybody else. So when you walk the walk, it's much easier. That's why, like, I don't know if I'd buy a car from somebody that like didn't own that brand. If I was like, oh, what kind of car, and they're trying to sell me a 2020 Hyundai, and I'm like, what kind of car you got? And they're like, oh, a 2003 Toyota. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what is going on? So like, that is, it's, if you're trying to sell a really high-end product, it's much easier to sell that if you live it yourself, because you know what that's like. I hear a lot of stories of companies where like they're saying, yep, we want you to deliver the Nordstrom's experience. We want you to, or like Morton Steakhouse. We want you to, like, really, as a customer service rep, give this to them, but that person's never been in Morton's before. They don't know what that experience is like. So if you are selling stuff that you've never done yourself, it's very hard. So put yourself in that shoe, sell the way that you buy, because that's just the way that it all works. And it's much easier to sell when you sell the way that you buy, because now you can put yourself in the other person's shoes. You're empathetic to what they're going through, right? When they say, I don't know, this is a big purchase, you can put yourself in their shoes and go, well, I've also made a pretty big purchase in my life. This is how I thought through it. So you can put yourself in their shoes. But if the biggest thing you've ever ran in your credit card was 5 grand, and you're now asking people to drop 30 grand on a credit card, it's hard for you to put yourself in their shoes and be empathetic. So sell the way that you buy, way easier that way, and audit the 5 purchases that you guys make this week and see what the process was for you to make those purchases. See you guys.